Recently I installed this Lucas horn in my Austin Gipsy. It was in a bunch of parts that I had kicking around. It was somebody had painted up, cleaned it up, getting it ready to put in another vehicle. But when I installed it, it didn't work at all. So what I did is I drilled the rivets out. You find is these are well worth fixing, these old horns, because they're hard to find used that are in good working condition. And as far as I know, they don't make them anymore. I don't know if anybody's making a reproduction or not, but they have a pretty unique sound, and it's hard to find an aftermarket horn that sounds like that. So yeah, like I was saying, I took it apart, drilled out the rivets, knocked them out with a punch, and inside you'll find the parts aren't really that complicated. There's a metal diaphragm that's designed to like a disc. It just like a speaker. It just cycles back and forth like a diaphragm. And there's a metal plunger in there with an electromagnet. And what happens is when you press the horn, you're energizing that electromagnet. It sucks this plunger into the hole, which you can't see with it covered up there, but this disc here comes up against this lever here on these contacts. Let's see if I can get some light in there. When the plunger goes in, it opens the contacts, which breaks the circuit. The coil de-energizes and the diaphragm moves back. Then as soon as the contacts touch again, it energizes the coil, and so that's happening I don't know how many times per second. And that's where the sound of your horn comes from. This disc vibrating back and forth on that plunger. And so really you just have to take it apart. You can see this one's had water in it. And I'll clean it up really good. Clean all the rust out, clean the contacts, and then this horn should work again. So I've got the contacts cleaned up on there now pretty good. Easy way to test is with a multimeter. Just put it on the contacts. You can see by the meter I've got 0 resistance right now, so I've got a closed circuit. Press on that little tang there. Now I've got an open circuit. So that's all it's doing. It's always closed like that. You push the horn button, this plunger gets sucked into the electromagnet, pushes on that little lever, opens the contacts and breaks the circuit. Plunger comes back forward, closes the contacts again, and that just cycles, I couldn't tell you how many times per second. And that bouncing of the voltage is vibrating this disc. And that's honking your horn. So I'm going to put this back together now and we'll give it a test. So I've got this connected up to my trusty test bench now. You can see I just put some small machine screws in there to put it back together. So far, that's all we have for sound. But you just adjust this adjusting screw in. It's obviously why they put it here. You can see it's starting to work. Keep turning it. And you can tell the tone changes quite a bit as you adjust that screw in. So you can pretty much set it where you want. And then tighten up the jam nut. There's also another small screw here that I should point out, and it pushes against the top of the contact. So I suppose if you ever run out of adjustment, this screw could be adjusted until it pushed up on the contact slightly. I'm not exactly sure why that's there. I've never checked the manual, but that is another adjustment that looks like something they would have done at the factory. But there you go. Anyways, that's your Lucas horn. Don't throw it out. Take it apart and fix it. Thanks for watching.